Joe Lewis owns Tottenham Hotspur, but you've probably hardly ever seen him. The East End-born self-made billionaire rarely visits White Hart Lane to cheer on Harry Kane and Co., preferring Aviva on a super yacht in the Caribbean to trips to North London. Billionaire Joe Lewis is the very private owner of Tottenham Hotspur, residing mostly in the Bahamas on his £112 million boat called Aviva III. He also has a home next door to Sean Connery and is friends with Tiger Woods. Harry Kane goes in hard on Sterling in Man United v Tottenham game. Over the years, he launched the careers of Planet Hollywood and hard rock founder Robert Earl and 70s pop sensations the Nolans. And according to the Forbes Rich list, he has an estimated fortune of £4.5 billion, which makes him the fifth richest man in the UK. News Group Newspapers Limited Spurs owner Joe Lewis has an estimated worth of £4 billion. Let Sunsport take you through the world of the man nicknamed the Boxer, because of his sporting namesake. Who is Joe Lewis? Joe is true Cockney who was born within the sound of the St Mary Le Bow church bells in 1937, which makes him 80 years old. He is thought to have been raised in a flat above the Roman Arms pub in East London. Roman Road in Bow, East London, where Lewis was reportedly raised. He left school at 15 years old to work in his family's cafe as a waiter, earning £6 a week. He later established more businesses in London's West End under the name Tavistock Banqueting. Joe opened restaurants including the Northumberland Grand, which was the first fancy dress-themed eatery in London aimed at tourists. Joe Lewis was born within the sound of the street Mary Le Bow church bells. From there he developed the Beefeater, the Cockney, the Caledonian and the Hanover Grand. He managed his first super club called the Talk of the Town in the 60s, where the likes of Frank Sinatra, Diana Ross and Tom Jones performed. The Talk of the Town was London's super club of the 60s. At the Hanover Grand, Joe granted the Nolans their first ever live show, and he gave Planet Hollywood and hard rock founder Robert Earl his first job. Joe Lewis launched the career of the Nolans, handing them their first gig. Joe even delved into the world of tourist shops, selling souvenirs and laying on bus tours of London for foreigners and dropping them off at his restaurants. He sold the business in 1979 for an incredible £30 million and moved to the Bahamas as a tax exile. Joe Lewis gave Planet Hollywood and hard rock boss Robert Earl his first job. How he turned his millions to billions. After moving to Nassau, the capital of the Bahamas, Joe entered the world of currency trading. It's there he made tens of millions, gambling on stock, as he looked to continue accumulating his massive wealth. After selling his business, Joe Lewis moved to the Bahamas, and it was in September 1992 when he became a billionaire, thanks in part to one shrewd investment on a day called Black Wednesday. City slicker Sheikh Mansour, his Manchester City team topped the league. He is worth £17 billion and he's got a mega yacht worth £400 million. Welcome to the crazy world of football's richest owner. Joe teamed up with investor George Soros, believing the pound was overvalued and would collapse as Britain attempted to align it with other Euro countries. Joe Lewis made his first billion on Black Wednesday in 1992. He bet on the pound crashing out of the European exchange rate mechanism, and as it did, he became a billionaire overnight. Joe repeated the trick many years later, betting against the Mexican peso, and landed himself even more dough. Joe Lewis gambled on the pound crashing out of the European exchange rate mechanism. He lives on one of the most luxurious boats in the world. Well, for most months of the year, and it's not just any old boat. The Aviva III, built in 2007, is Joe's mobile private office, and it's 223 feet in size with an estimated value of £112 million. Jeremy Young, The Sunday Times. Joe Lewis owns the Aviva III, which is worth £112 million. It was crafted by German builders Viking and Rasmussen and designed by Raymond Langton. The large yacht can host up to 16 people, and in sea trials reach up to 20 knots, 23 miles per hour. Joe is a keen sportsman, with the ship boasting a full-sized tennis court. The mega yacht has a full-sized tennis court and can reach 23 miles per hour. In May 2013, Spurs went on a trip to the Bahamas and were welcomed on board the vessel by host Joe. Michael Dawson, who was skipper at the time, said, "I had never met him before, so it was nice to go over there and a great experience. What a really nice guy. And that yacht is unreal. But he's just a normal guy." Joe Lewis welcomed Spurs players on board his boat in 2013. "You could chat to him about anything. He tunes into all the games. He loves it. We just sat there chatting. He made us feel so welcome over there. It was relaxed. A lot of team bonding together. It helps to be able to put a face to the person investing so much in this club. He wants to be successful." Michael Dawson waxed lyrical about meeting Joe Lewis. "He's always watching. He knows what goes on. He would remember every game, every little thing. Joe has friends in high places. Of course, when you're as wealthy as Joe, you're going to attract the creme de la creme of society. His best mate is Tiger Woods, who has called Joe, 'my business mentor,' in the past. Tiger Woods has called Joe Lewis, 'my business mentor,' each year. When he's not injured, of course. Tiger takes part in Joe's Tavistock Cup competition in Florida. It's held on two of Joe's developments in Orlando called the Isleworth and Lake Nona. Joe Lewis and Tiger Woods regularly play golf together in Florida. Incidentally, when Tiger Woods had his infamous 2009 low-speed car accident, it was at Joe's Isleworth complex, where the golfer has a home. Joe, who also owns property in Argentina and Bulgaria, also lives next door to 007 legend Sean Connery, who he is reportedly close to. Joe Lewis is also best friends with 007 star Sean Connery. Golfer Ernie Els is another pal, and the pair are said to regularly dine together. Being mates with golfers gives you the hint that Joe is a keen golfer himself. Joe Lewis and Ernie Els often have dinner together. He is believed to play off a 14 handicap and has practiced with Woods and Els in the past. He has an epic art collection. Pablo Picasso is one of the artists Joe Lewis loves. When you're a wealthy man, you need hobbies aside from golf and relaxing on yachts. That's why Joe has an art collection that's the envy of every Premier League owner. Said to be worth around £1 billion, he owns works by post-expressionists Picasso, Chagall, Matisse, and Miros. However, in 2008 Joe made headline news, at least in the art world, with one extravagant purchase. Joe Lewis spent £26.3 million on Francis Bacon painting triptych 1974–1977. The businessman splashed £26.3 million on Francis Bacon's triptych 1974–1977 painting. And you'd never guess where he keeps all his art. Yeah, that's right, the paintings adorn the walls of his mega yacht. Joe Lewis keeps most of his art collection on his luxury yacht. And now for something personal. Joe has been married twice. His first wife was Esther Brown, who he met at his Greasy Spoon. She now lives in Ireland. They had 2 children, Vivian and Charlie, before they divorced. Joe then married his former assistant Jane, however they don't have any kids. News Group Newspapers Limited. Joe Lewis has been called a regular guy by anyone who meets him, but before you go thinking life has been all rosy for Joe, he has been touched by loss. He lost his dad to cancer, so he wanted to give something back. Joe set up a foundation to help fund research, and the charity is run by daughter Vivian.